Hey guys, welcome back to the weekly Coffin Hero Show. Look at us continuing with our weekly content 3 weeks in a row. Absolutely glorious. But I should say we are really enjoying some good feedback on this. People seem to be digging the new format. So your host is always Alan, owner of Coffee and Heroes in Belfast, joined as always by my brother from another mother Keith. Afternoon, sir. I believe you're recovering from a little bit of a run the other day.
Well, yeah, obviously we find ourselves in St. Patrick's Week, the week of St. Patrick's Day, which was Tuesday, the day before New Comic Book Day. So yeah, I it's become a wee bit of a tradition over the last 3 years that there's a 10K run around Belfast that I engage in with my pals from the gym that I attend. So yeah, legs are definitely feeling it a wee bit. I did do some legs this morning just to loosen them up. Uh, the head has recovered from the copious amounts of Guinness that were drunk that evening as well. So I didn't see you on the day, so happy St. Patrick's Day.
No, well, I was
Belated.
happy some backstage yourself. Well, yeah, I mean, I was thankfully hip deep in a glorious early delivery this week after my,
Oh wow.
rantings from the last couple of weeks of late deliveries and stress and late nights and everything else. Delivery arrived at 11 a.m. on a Monday morning, which was a good thing because we had about 1,100 items this week. It's a big week, which we'll certainly get on to in a second. We in terms
Mm.
of releases this week, there's just so much good stuff. But yeah, just it makes all the difference. I mean, I was able to get pull lists done, everything bagged and boarded, variants labeled, graphics ready, and I was done by 2:30 on the Tuesday, which
Wow.
freed me up on the Tuesday afternoon. It meant I could record stuff for TikTok and YouTube on the Wednesday morning. And, I don't want to get too used to it because, this is usually where the rug gets pulled out
Totally.
from under me.
Yep. Yep.
But I was fortunate this week because St. Paddy's Day was on a Tuesday. If it had been on a Monday, I probably wouldn't have got a Monday delivery, and I couldn't have
Yes.
blamed
Yeah.
Diamonds. It would have been our fault this side of the world. But no,
Uh-huh.
it makes all the difference. It really does. The store looks great. This week I put a lot of effort in the Tuesday afternoon back issue sections, making sure the new releases were all looking crisp and great. Filling out the back catalog. It makes all the difference. It just frees me up when so much stock comes into the store, and then the store's beautiful and tidy for the Wednesday morning. And then yeah, lovely busy new comic book day as well. We're recording this on the Thursday morning, the day after, and yeah, just a really, really good new comic book day. And it's all karma related because look at this beautiful sunshine we're enjoying today.
I know, absolutely. We don't want to be sitting here too long because this is a great sunny day. Now I obviously don't want to overstay it. It's great to have a sunny day, but I'm going to be heading out to foreign parts on Monday for a couple of weeks. The nature of the work I'm doing at the minute means I can do that from somewhere else. And in fact, potentially we could record uh, next week.
So what
But
you're
we'll see what
saying
happens.
is you have this beautiful background, you finally got organized for all of our YouTube stuff, and now you're gonna be away next week, and it might just be like a bare bones, what is it, a Spanish
Yeah.
background?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and actually, now I mention it, I don't know if my obviously I've got a dedicated PC for recording the podcast here, and I don't know
You
if
don't
my
have to put
laptop
that
will
on your
be.
carry-on luggage. It's okay, kid.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, yeah.
I'm sure I can either call in a reinforcement of someone to chat to next week, or I can, talk to myself like the crazy person I am and
Perfect.
put a little
Perfect.
something out. Don't be worrying, because I do feel we're on a roll with this. And as I say, people are enjoying the new format and enjoying the sort of consistency of it. So we don't want to break that too
Mm-hmm.
early. But we're going to break our format slightly here. We are known as the podcast of positivity. We are known as talking about only what we enjoy, but I understand you didn't enjoy something so much that it made it onto our script. I can't
Absolutely.
remember
I
the last
mean,
time this happened.
yeah, 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 yeah. And we'll get it out of the way quick. X-Men United #1. Now, I've been more or less enjoying a good deal of the X-Men stuff lately. Most in particular, Jed McKay's X-Men book, which I consider to be the core book, and the Uncanny X-Men book isn't bad either. I know we've had some problems with Inglorious X-Force, especially those people who aren't a fan of Ms. Marvel. I'm not one of those people, so I'm quite enjoying that. But
You know who you
X-Men,
are.
yeah, X-Men United, #1 was not good. It feels like a continuation of Exceptional X-Men through the
Same
back
writer,
door.
isn't it?
Same writer, I
Yeah.
believe. I didn't read that book because I wasn't interested in it, but just, I don't know, just problems with it. The concept, from the concept right the way up. The concept of a school that exists in the psychic plane seems a wee bit squiffy because they can't seem to decide whether or not you know, in the psychic plane. Whenever someone's damaged in the psychic plane, they get hurt in the physical plane. All these sort of issues, but the fact that it was all new characters, all
Hmm.
brand new, you know, and
Because
it
the
just
X-Men
feels.
universe doesn't have a large enough
Well,
cast of
yeah,
characters.
that's what it was. I was like, okay, listen, so I haven't read Exceptional X-Men. I have no idea. As a huge X-Men fan, I don't know who any of these characters are. Uh, X-Men does seem to be having a problem with not being able to spotlight the characters it maybe needs to be spotlighting. Those higher profile characters would probably increase sales.
Hmm.
But it just didn't do it for me at all. So that's going to be unfortunately a drop from my pull list.
I was
But I
going to
did
say
give
this
it.
is the most obvious. Please take this off my pull list I've ever heard from
Yeah, and
you
it's sad. It's
in
sad to
8.5
say.
years. So
It's sad to say, but I mean, I'm not a proponent of, oh, the X-Men just need to go back to, you know, the five core characters or any of that crap. That's just really reductive. But it definitely I think, needs to move a different direction, a direction away from this. This wasn't. I was expecting, you know, X-Men United in the title. You would expect this is going to be a core book that's going to sort of move things in a direction, and if that's the direction, it's not really the one that I'm following. So we'll stick with Jed McKay on X-Men, and we'll stick with Uncanny X-Men and a few bits and pieces. But I think that one needs to go.
yeah, that's understandable enough. I mean, to throw it in sports terms, anything that ends in United is not welcome in this dojo. So, it doesn't surprise me that, with a title like that it turns out to be something that's bad,
uh
Um, but yeah,
Stuart,
no, I mean,
actually, our buddy Stuart in the shop, one of our regulars, who seems to be enjoying the new format as well, did mention last week that we hadn't mentioned Skinbreaker yet.
true,
Uh, uh,
true.
so no, I'm not quite sure if it's just, over the past number of weeks that we've recorded, it hasn't been released. If we've missed it, maybe in our record, but
I think it might
uh,
have been a case of it would have come out just before we recorded the first of this new format. I
mm,
mean, anybody who doesn't know Skinbreaker, Robert Kirkman book, written by Robert Kirkman, drawn by David Finch. It's quite infamous in comic circles at the moment because obviously Kirkman's in a position, and he's earned this position, of course, but he's in a position where he can take a top level artist, say to them, take all the time you need for this book. We want this to be like your, coffee table book, essentially. We don't have to play to deadlines. We don't have to get this out within, 6 months. And apparently it took the guts of 7 or 8 years for it to be done, but it's completely and utterly finished. David Finch is very well known, certainly in terms of art. If he's got time, he is one of the best around. But he'll
mhm.
also never miss a deadline. So if he sometimes would have to rush the art, and that it suffers as a
It's never
consequence.
good. Yep.
I remember a very famous example with Forever Evil, which was a DC event, and the first 3 or 4 issues were glorious looking, and by the seventh issue, it was unrecognizable. But Skinbreaker is a pretty tremendous book. It's going to be 8 issues in total. They already finished it, of course. We're as far as what, issue 5, I want to say.
I
We're
think
over
it's I
the
think it's even further than that,
Is it
Alan.
5 or 6?
Yeah,
So it's not too surprising that people talk about it in glowing terms because,
yeah.
again, they've been releasing these huge oversized editions with every single issue just to really showcase the art. Now, I like those to a degree, but I find them an absolute bitch to store. So I
Uh-huh.
would rather get, so just I'll grab something here. So I would rather get, like, a nice big deluxe hardcover of something,
Uh-huh.
because that's easy to store and, put on a bookshelf and whatever else.
Don't know what
That was
size your
my
bookshelves are.
Well, that was my Batman Year One one. So there's one, for example, there's an artist edition of
Yeah,
Black
it's
Widow,
lovely.
Chris
Lovely.
Samney's work. Um, so I would rather, from a personal point of view, have those artist editions as a collection. Now, if they do that with Skinbreaker at the end,
Yeah.
I will happily pick that up
Yeah,
because it
absolutely.
is
I
a
mean, it
beautiful
is.
book.
Yeah, I mean, David Finch's covers on Walking Dead obviously are phenomenal as well. Usually the cover A, if I recall.
Yeah, I mean,
But
that's no mean feat as well. He's doing
no, definitely not.
193 covers,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
at the same
absolutely in
time as
short
obviously
order. But
drawing
yeah,
Skinbreaker.
just I mean, yeah, I mean, just a beautifully, beautifully drawn book. Really nice lore to it. Really nice, really beautifully written. So yeah, 100%. If we haven't mentioned that, I mean, obviously there are times that we will miss stuff because we want to talk about other stuff. We can't talk about everything. But yeah,
Well,
Skinbreaker is very much on our
at the
minds.
very least, there's one thumbs up for this video from Stuart. Check, mention Skinbreaker. One thing we will chat about very, very quickly that I think is sort of the toast of the town at the moment is I mean, I don't like the way they dropped it initially. I don't know if you saw this, but they were doing like this treasure hunt thing and releasing 1 second of footage here, 1 second of footage there. People were then being asked to piece it together. Just drop a trailer. Just drop a trailer. I may be old. I'm comfortable with being old. Just drop a trailer. And then you get this kind of reaction. So yeah, we're talking about Spider-Man, the brand new day trailer. Spider-Man, of course, making his solo movie return this year. I saw a comment below the video and I didn't think about this, but in fairness, it's worth mentioning. The first Spider-Man franchise to reach movie four.
Hmm. Yeah,
You know,
interesting.
Raimi got a trilogy, Amazing Spider-Man, just the two. Obviously, those characters came back in No Way Home, but I still think you'd class that as a Tom Holland Spider-Man movie.
Big style.
Brand new day, have to say, trailer looks good. We've got, the Punisher in there. There's villains all over the place in it, which could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. We don't want to oversaturate, but you definitely saw Scorpion in there, definitely saw Boomerang in there. Um,
Tarantula.
Tarantula in there. You're going to have Bruce Banner's in there, so you're going to have the Hulk in here at some point. And as I say, you've got Punisher in there, John Bernthal the carrying over from the TV shows. We saw what looks like the Hand in there, which makes you think Daredevil must be in this at some point
Mm-hmm.
as well. It definitely looks a lot more of a grounded Spider-Man movie, which I'm happy enough with. I mean, they even have a moment in it where someone says, "Ah, friendly neighbor," and as a little
Yeah,
sort of
yeah, 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 yeah.
well, Easter egg. So for me, hopefully this is friendly neighborhood Spider-Man stuff. Spider-Man just looking after sort of the little people on the ground and not Spider-Man heading off to space to fight Thanos.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look like that. It looks like a much more personal movie, given what happened to Peter in terms of none of his friends remembering who he is anymore. Aunt May no longer being around. All of his connections are gone, really. I can't
Yeah.
even remember. Did Doctor Strange remember who he was? Was he the only person who
I think
remembered who
the
he was?
idea was that
No, he didn't
everybody
remember who
has
he
forgot.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah, everybody.
everybody knows Spider-Man, but no one knows who's under the mask,
Yeah, yeah,
essentially.
yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting. I mean, yeah, there's elements of what look like JMS's the other storyline.
Hmm.
With Peter apparently
Cocoon at one
evolving.
point.
Yeah, cocooned. Whether or not they'll go, and the that storyline was kind of. It wasn't that storyline. It was an earlier storyline. So there was an earlier storyline where Spider-Man got six arms and then more or less evolved into a spider. Earlier in the run, and that was riffed in the original Spider-Man animated series, the 1992 animated series,
Yeah.
as part of an arc called the Neogenic Nightmare. So it might be closer to that. I'm not just sure. But yeah, very cool, very cool.
Yeah, it looked quite colorful. There was lots of sort of nods to comic books, which was nice to see. Whether it was iconic covers, you could see
Mm,
Amazing Fantasy 15 cover recreated. You could see covers done by John Romita Sr. Recreated. What looked like almost a Todd McFarlane nod as well. So, I mean, I've always struggled with Tom Holland a little bit of Spider-Man. I'm a Toby guy through and through. For me, Raimi's trilogy is golden. But I'm hoping that this is the first where they maybe let him. And I mean, maybe one of the reasons I'm not such a fan is because they never let him shine on his own. Like the first movie, Iron Man had to be in it, so Downey Jr. obviously takes a lot of the gloss. The second movie, a lot of the gloss was taken by Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. Third movie, the other two Spider-Men were in it. So maybe this will actually be a good showcase for Tom Holland. Although even as I say that, I'm talking about how many other characters are in it.
mm,
So hopefully,
mhm.
so hopefully Spider-Man doesn't get lost in his own movie. That's all.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I don't think.
I always felt in Raimi's movies, Peter was always the central character, and I don't always feel that in the Tom Holland ones.
I mean I don't have the same issue. I think Tom Holland's a strong enough player that he doesn't necessarily get lost. Certainly with the last movie, while he was the youngest of those Spider-Man, he was certainly the leader of that trio. Uh, and I see what you mean about the first one, the Iron Man one. But I didn't feel the same about the one that Jake Gyllenhaal was in. Great again, great actor. They played off off each other very, very well. And I
Hmm.
mean, there isn't anything wrong with that, given that the whole Marvel team up thing, was originally Spider-Man team up.
Yeah.
It was Spider-Man teaming up with everybody else. He's a really great character to play against other characters. We've just seen that in the Spider-Man and Wolverine miniseries. So I don't think I think that's on brand as well. But I don't I think I do think Tom Holland is a strong enough player that it can be put up against or with another actor and still shine.
Yeah.
But I hope you're right as well. There's some scenes with him and John Barenthal which will be interesting. Given that again, Punisher and Spider-Man have got long links.
Punisher's an interesting choice as well to be in it because, you think of Spider-Man movies as sort of family movies, and the Punisher is not if you want to do the Punisher right, he's not a family-friendly character.
Well, then
But
again, Punisher appeared in the Spider-Man cartoon quite well.
mm,
It was still quite dark, but yeah, there's that scene in the trailer where he goes to say something and Spider-Man just webs his mouth closed.
yeah,
Watch your potty mouth sort of thing.
channeling his inner Captain America with language.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, it does. It looks good. I mean, I think it's looking like a strong year for movies. Spider-Man: Brand New Day, Avengers: Doomsday. Obviously, I know more for yourself because I still haven't watched them, but June 3 is this year as well. I'll get there. Nolan's The Odyssey is this year, so there's loads to look forward to, which is really encouraging as well
Yeah,
moving
yeah, yeah,
forward.
yeah. Yeah.
Supergirl as well, of course.
Cool.
But just one last thing, just in sort of a little talking points section at the start. But I noticed this morning that one of our favorite comic series is ripe for a return. There's a series we have been, talking about the virtues
Yeah.
of for years at this point. It comes from the great creative team, the team of Chris Condon on writing and Jacob Phillips on art. Of course, those guys have collaborated for the recent Vertigo series, The Brutal Dark, the Parallel Brutal Dark and Ezra Kane Mystery. That Texas Blood is making its return. We absolutely love this book. Western noir, one of the best characters around in comics, and Sheriff Joe
Hmm.
Bob jumps about all over the place timeline wise for whatever
Yep.
story they want to tell, which works really, really well. But yeah, I was going through social media this morning and I just saw Jacob Phillips announce it, and there is the look at that. Oh yeah,
Oh, very
that's the
nice.
good stuff. That's
Very
the good stuff.
nice. Yeah, yeah.
It's returning in 2026, and we're going to catch up with Joe Bob in 2003. It looks really, really good. So definitely want to keep an eye for the pull list. I'm sure we'll mention it again when it hits previews and all the rest, but I just wanted to throw a bit of love out there for it. But yeah, we'll move on to this week and in terms of comic releases. As I said at the start, big delivery, tons of titles. I went big on quite a few titles as well in terms of having stuff for the racks, just based on, feedback and customers and what I think people are going to be interested in. And for me, anyway, the big drop from both a retailer point of view, but also from a fan point of view, is DC's Next Level kicks off this week.
Hmm.
So, sort of spinning out of the events of DC KO, but also just a new way of DC bringing in some new titles, not just relying on the same old tropes and going, here's another Batman title, here's another Superman title, they're focusing on characters that maybe have not had their moment in the sun for a while, giving them their own series with great characters, but also great creators involved. So, I mean, top of the list for me was definitely Batwoman, brand new number one there. And the reason that is number one out of the three is because it heralds Greg Rucka writing Batwoman again
Yep, yep.
for DC. It has great artist on it, Danny. So really, really looking forward to jumping into that. You'll see at the top there the DC Next Level logo. As well as that, you have Deathstroke the Terminator, brand new number one. I have to say, I have already read this. This is awesome. This is like a 90s action movie, which is exactly
Brilliant.
what Deathstroke should
Brilliant.
be. Echoes of John Woo in there in the best possible way. This is written by Tony Flex, who, of course, is well known for Stray Dogs and Feral and stuff. But as I will tell anybody who will listen, read his Ben Grimm The Thing miniseries.
Yeah,
Five
yeah,
issues. Brilliant. Artist on that one is Carmen Domenico, who I believe is Chip Zdarsky's artist on
yeah. Formerly on
Batman.
Flash, and yeah, yeah.
What was the Batman book? Batman the Night,
The
the
night,
10
yeah.
issue miniseries.
Brilliant.
And then the last one, just to really show that we are back to the 90s, is Lobo launching number one as well. So this is written by Scotty Young with art by Jorge Corona. Those two, of course, are frequent collaborators. If you've
Hmm.
been listening to us for a long time, you'll know about Middle West, for example. You'll know about The Me You Love in the Dark. Jorge Corona took over from Daniel Warren Johnson on Transformers. Really looking forward to that one as well. And if I can plug another podcast worth listening to, Off Panel this week had Scotty Young on it, and it was a really, really good listen. Went into his time at Marvel, his time at DC, his love of Lobo, and how he feels like he's been prepping for this book for years.
Lovely.
So highly recommend listening to that. But yeah, we went big in all of these, loads of number ones in. So if you're coming to it late, it's not a problem. By the time number two comes out, I've no doubt we'll still have number ones in stock, etc., etc.
Mm.
But Yeah,
Not
it's
really.
another example of what I think DC are doing right at the moment. You know, they're diversifying their portfolio and diversifying the use of characters. So we're
Mm,
looking forward to those.
yeah, going to pick up the. I haven't had a chance to get into the store to pick up my pull list yet. Hopefully, getting a chance this afternoon is the hope. I'm definitely picking up Batwoman for exactly the same reasons. Greg Rucka, Danny on that. Definitely picking up Deathstroke for the same reasons, but I'm going to leave Lobo alone. Lobo's never while that creative team is phenomenal, Lobo's never been a character that I falls into the same silly Deadpool nonsense for me. So I don't know, maybe pick up the
Is
first book.
that your holy trinity of hell, is it? It's Deadpool, Cosmic Ghost Rider, and Lobo.
Pretty much, yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Though I did read a book with Cosmic Ghost Rider in it this week that I quite enjoyed. More on that later. So yeah, I'm definitely down for 2 out of 3 of those. I think that's a great initiative. I am very much looking forward to rather than a first issue, there is a few first issues, but I'm very much looking forward to Cyclops issue number 2 from Alex Pagnadel and Roger Antonio. First issue of this was phenomenal. Cyclops sort of on a solo sort of mission, not expecting to be in a mission. Next thing, his jet goes down, and Pagnadel has the Reavers doing their thing, and Donald Pierce and this young mutant who's going to be, who Cyclops is going to have to stick up for. So it's great to see him, you know, out on his own and showing why he is such a cool character. Sort of great dialogue between the Reavers. Very, very sweet art. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I think Cyclops, certainly from a critical point of view, and with me looking at pull lists and stuff as well, I think it's the most successful launch for an X-Men character recently in
Mm.
terms of like miniseries. There's been a few that have done pretty well, but like Cyclops seems to have a little bit of hype around it. Maybe it's just people have been starved of a Scott Summers title for a long time. I
Could
don't know.
be. And I mean, what's the first thing you do whenever you have Scott Summers on his own? You have him lose his visor. So he's effectively blind and doesn't have control over his powers. So pretty cool stuff anyway.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, I was talking a little bit in the intro as well about maybe. Or maybe it was even before we came online. I had to pre-warn Keith that this might be another DC, love fest again. But again, from a retailer point of view, it's another brilliant week for DC for a very simple reason. When they did the whole DC All-In initiative and everything went back to starting points, a lot of those books had the same length of arcs. So this week sees, I think, 4 titles with brand new starting points. So the thing you're looking out for with the DC books, if you look at the top here, they do. Oh, that's a lovely zoom in that. They do this blue banner, and you'll see here the Wonder War starts here. So Wonder Woman 31 is one I'm looking forward to for that reason. The Wonder War's been teased for a little while. Obviously, Tom King, Daniel Sampere, and Wonder Woman. But as well as that, this week you've got starting points for Nightwing with Dennis Cowan coming on as regular artist, with Dan Watters continuing to write there. You've recently had Action Comics as a jumping on point. You've had Supergirl as a jumping on point. You've had Batgirl as a jumping on point. Yeah, just look for that little blue banner at the top. We have started doing an initiative in store where we'll put stickers on them saying, new reader question mark start here. Absolute Flash has a starting point this week as well. So it's another example of DC certainly thinking about it from a retailer's point of view, because if you get them all in the same week, it's a lot easier as a retailer to go, well, here's 3 while you're in the store, here's 3 starting points for 3 titles, rather than, well, there's a starting point in this one next week, and there's a starting point in this one in a month's time, and et cetera, et cetera. So from that point of view, it's another reason that DC are killing it from a retailer point of view, and they're exciting looking titles as well. So I'm really looking forward to tucking that Nightwing, actually. Just Dennis Cowan is a personal favorite artist. So
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's going to be great as well. But
Very
I'll
cool.
step away from DC. Go on, give me some Marvel stuff
All right.
because the
I'm gonna swing to Image first, actually, if that's all right.
you work away.
The Energon
Gonna have to
universe.
retitle you Mr. Image instead of Mr.
Well,
Marvel.
we adapt and thrive. So really looking forward to GI Joe number 20 coming out
Great
this
cover,
week.
great cover.
Absolutely brilliant cover, and this is primed to be the first meeting of Duke and Optimus
Very good.
Prime. And what that meeting between the leader of the Autobots and the leader of GI Joe will bring for the Energon universe. We've been waiting for this since the start, since Starscream took Duke out of the sky back in that very first issue. the stuff that's been happening with Mask and the introduction of Mask later this year into the Energon universe. I know Matt Tracker, I think, features in this issue. So I'll be really, really interested to see these two absolute legends of animated and comics action meeting, and just how they can come to a coexistence. So that'll be cool. Especially, I mean, it'll be interesting now as well because there was some big developments in this week's Transformers, which have led to a bit of a change of status for Prime. But I get from the cover that maybe that isn't reflected in this particular book just yet. So we might have a wee bit of a time lag between Transformers and G.I. Joe. But let's see. I haven't
Or
read
do
it
we?
yet.
Or do we?
Or do we? Yeah, quite.
The
So
one thing I
looking.
can, the one thing I can confirm with this cover is it's not one of those annoying things in comics where you get this great cover, teasing these two characters meeting, and it's on the last page. It's not like that.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can
yeah.
I can confirm that they are in contact throughout. But yeah, I have already read it, and one or two of your fears may be allayed.
Yeah, very cool.
Kirkman knows how to line titles up. Let's put it
Yeah,
that way.
yeah. Well, listen, just while we're on the Image kick here,
A lot of
uh,
stuff this
I
week.
mean,
Yeah.
this is such a good week for Image books. We've got Geiger, which is always a good week anytime one of the Ghost Machine books comes out, especially the Unknown War stuff for me. We've got Battle Beast issue 7 that's coming back after a short lag.
Yeah,
Uh,
for 6 issues was your first arc, so it's
Yeah,
back. Back.
100%. Exquisite Corpses hits number 11. It's
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenal. So there's some great stuff, including like Lucky Devils and a variety of other stuff. So very
And the
big,
other
very
thing
big
about
week.
Image this week as well, because obviously I, praise DC so much for it, but Image are starting to do this as well, that there's been hot books recently that they have rushed back to second print really quickly. So one of those books is a book called White Sky, which has got a second print, and a lot of people thinking this might be like a new Walking Dead long form post-apocalyptic book. They had a new printing out this week for Dork, which was a surprise all ages hit
Mm-hmm.
from Brett Bean. It's a third print, believe it or not, and issue 2 only came out last week. So Image are doing some good stuff there as well. There's another book, Death Fight Forever, got a second printing.
Mm.
So they're being really conscious of if these books are hotting up to get a second print out quickly, because nothing will put people off giving a new title a go more than having to pay over the odds for number one, because some podcaster somewhere has declared this the hot book and therefore it's been artificially inflated. So Image are combating that really well, I think, at the moment with new
Mm.
printings left, right, and center. But not only that, they're also releasing this week one of the best books on the racks. I know you love it, Keith. You know you do. Look at that. Beowulf.
I
Beowulf.
will I will probably pick that up whenever if it comes out the same way as Karate Prom did, as one of those
I
wee.
mean, look at this headline here. Because they always do it in the style of like a wrestling magazine.
Yeah.
So Beowulf, wrestling's most divisive superstar. Is he the GOAT or just a goat? I mean, just look at that. That's just great stuff. But yeah, number 4 of that, it's a 5 issue series, I believe. As Keith just mentioned there, Craddy Prom, Kyle Stark. He would be certainly one of our favorite guys. I mean, he's not only hitting with Wrestle Heist this week, but he's also hitting with. Well, let me
Oh
check my
yes, you've got a
pile
Kyle
of
Starks
books.
2 for, haven't you?
Yeah, End of Life number 2 is this week as well. Really
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed the first book. Kyle Stark's writing, Steve Pugh, sarcastic man-child assassin book. Really, really fun first issue. I'm looking forward to issue 2 as well. So, but yeah, obviously Wrestle Heist is another Image book. So again, it just continues to show the strength of Image Comics this week.
Mm.
So yeah,
Cool.
and there's actually another one there as well, with Thing on the Doorstep, number
Yeah,
2.
absolutely. Thing on the doorstep is, as you know, I have a weakness for all things H.P. Lovecraft, and I must actually sort of recommend this one to Martin. So this is the second issue of the Thing on the Doorstep, which is almost an adaptation within the Lovecraft world. It started off. First issue was brilliant. It started off in Arkham Asylum in 1933, and Daniel Upton shooting his lifelong friend Edward Derby in the face, killing him. And then we lead up to what would
Yeah,
what
what
would
caused it?
cause that act. So we see their childhood. But yeah, it's very cool. So as we eke into issue 2, Edward has started at Miskatonic University. He's hoping to deepen his understanding of the strange and the occult, but he meets this woman named Seneth Waite, who can seemingly control the weather, and he falls for it. So it's cool. The first issue, I was like, I'll give this a go and see what the crack is, and then I was like, nope, I'm in. So this is Image via their Top Cow imprint.
Yeah. and again another Image book. So they just keep
Yeah,
coming. I
yeah,
mean,
absolutely.
there's other great stuff out this week as well. Of course, I think there was one more you maybe wanted to throw a bit of love for.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's some cool. I mean, I know we're talking about we're constantly hearing the narrative about the downfall of Marvel, but there's some great Marvel stuff out this week. I mean, the Death Spiral stuff has been pretty cool. Captain America, we know is leading into the
Armageddon.
Armageddon, yeah. So the X-Men's out. Mortal Thor's been brilliant. Moon Knight, but I'm really looking forward to the Sentry #1. So obviously from the creator Paul Jenkins.
Paul
So
Jenkins.
yeah, so we've got Paul Jenkins in the writing and Christian Rosado on art. I mean, should this maybe have been out around the time of the Thunderbolts? Probably, but here we are. He's been an Avenger, a Dark Avenger, a Thunderbolt. The Sentry is back, but so is the Void, as you know, the dark side of the coin that is the Sentry, the most powerful man in the Marvel universe. From creator Paul Jenkins comes a bold, high-stakes epic about Marvel's most dangerous hero, the Sentry, a man with the power of a million exploding suns, and a dark entity born of his own psyche, the Void. When the Void resurfaces, threatening to unravel reality itself, the Sentry must battle not only the cosmic forces and criminal empires, but the monster within. Guest stars Reed Richards, Spider-Man, and the Kingpin, and a tale of impossible choices and devastating consequences. Can the Sentry save everything when the cost might be everything he loves? Looks good. Looks good.
I mean, you mentioned Kingpin, and then it's, my ears prick up a little bit.
Oh, of
Sometimes all
course,
you have to
yeah.
do is put a character I love into that book. Hence why I talk about that great Thing miniseries, because the antagonist in that is Kingpin,
Mm,
the one from Tony Flex, which was really, really great. So, yeah, so tons of stuff this week, guys.
yeah.
Tons of trades in store as well. Um, Always check out our social media posts on the Wednesday. We'll always put up pictures of
Mm,
everything that's out. When I get time, I'll also do videos, but I'll always put the pictures out, so you can certainly check our social
yeah. I
medias on there as well.
should say in terms of this as well, as we move on to our next segment here, we were attempting to get some graphics and some jingles for the audio and the video podcast to separate our little sections. But well, in the meantime, just imagine, we're all comic readers. We
Doodle-doo,
like to,
doodle-doo,
yeah,
doodle-doo, doodle-doo.
we have great imaginations. So, that being said, what have we been reading over the last week or so that we've really enjoyed?
Well, I mean, you're talking about Image, so again, I'll kick us off with something I really enjoyed, and again, it's another one of those Image books that sold out really quickly, big on the secondary market, and is now going to second print. Highly, highly recommend it. Which is Narco, so brand new #1. It is written by Doug Wagner with art by Daniel Hillard. These two have been working together for a while. They're doing this thing called the Plastic Verse. It seems to be like this serial killer sort of set universe, and they've done 6 different books, this being the sixth. And this one I think is the best so far. So Narco basically refers to the main character. The main character is a serial killer blogger. He's one of those guys loves putting conspiracy theories online. Is there a serial killer in your town, etc., etc. And he's talking about this new serial killer that's going around who what he does is he copies other serial killers, gets them caught, and then moves on to the next one and copies them and then gets them caught. But the whole reason it refers to the protagonist, Narco, is because he's narcoleptic. When he reaches 200 beats per minute for his heart rate, he passes out. So anytime he's in high pressure situations, he passes out. So that's infused with a little bit of a love story going on with the girl he really, really likes, who may or may not be a target. Really, really good first issue, really atmospheric. I wanted to show off actually just quickly some of the art because you see the main character getting ready for a date with the girl that he likes. And they show him getting ready in his apartment. And I just thought it was really, really cool the way it was sort of all put together. And
Mm,
you think about how when you're excited for something, you're pacing around and you're checking this and you're checking that. But it goes from that to sort of some real dark places after that. I really liked as well that at the back there was a nice interview with the creators about it and talking about their whole connected universe and the other books and stuff like that.
interesting.
That I mean that's the kind of thing Image likes to do. You think of the Walking Dead Deluxe and the extra bonus material of always getting the cutting room floor and creators talking about their influences and stuff like that. So yeah, that was one I really, really enjoyed. I've got the second prints on the way because again, that was another one of those that got
Mm.
inflated up to like a 20 pound book.
Oosh.
I mean, it's good, but it's not that good.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but I'd highly recommend it when the second prints certainly come in. So yeah, Narco #1, definitely a big one for me last week.
Sweet. Already mentioned it, but I thoroughly enjoyed Image Skybound's Transformers #30 from Kirkman and Dan Mora. Can't argue with that creative team and that particular property. It's just been solid up until now. Certainly, there has been really two stories going on that have crossed over occasionally. The battle on Cybertron, led by Elita One, as the Autobots left on Cybertron mount a resistance against the remaining Decepticons, and then the obviously the battle that's happening on Earth with Optimus Prime and eventually the reinvigorated Megatron. So this has the two crossover as Elita One, who is a lot more, I think, aggressive in her need to defend Cybertron. Doesn't understand why there's a second battle going on Earth, why there's a second front. Doesn't understand the need to protect the squishy humans from the Decepticons. But there's a crossover here, and there is a change in the balance of power. One shall stand and one shall not.
And that's the end of
So
that story arc, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, Transformers tends to go in sort of 6 issue arcs,
yeah.
and obviously at 25, Kirkman took over, Dan Mora on art. So 25 to 30 will be your fifth graphic novel or your fifth volume put together as well. So if you're a little late to the Transformers party and really want to get into it, 31 will be a
Yeah.
good jumping on point for
Yeah, for
that.
sure. I feel like this almost was as well, Kirkman in the letters page, he engages himself and the letters page was like, I know, just, trust us. This is going to be cool stuff ahead. Now let's answer some questions, let's answer some mails. So obviously, if you're doing what you're doing in this issue, you're doing it with because you have a plan and you're depending on the confidence of your readers that you've engendered. We saw that with Conan last week, and I think we're seeing that with Transformers this week. So yeah, very, very cool stuff. And if we know anything about comic books, it's trust Kirkman.
Well, I mean, that's just a mantra for, being a comic fan, full stop. In the realms of sort of creators that we'll always follow when they have a new book, I mean, he has to be top three because it's always independent stuff, it's always self-published stuff, it's always genre storytelling, and he's just. I think the reason you always follow Kirkman is because his passion for the industry. He doesn't need to write comics. This guy runs TV shows. This guy is a multi-millionaire at this point. He's on the board at Image now, the only member of the board who wasn't an original founder, but he loves comics. So the fact that he keeps coming back and, doing new books and always doing long runs, Skinbreaker's the shortest thing he's done in quite
Hmm.
some time with being eight.
Yeah,
I think was
yeah,
a
yeah,
Die 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 did 12,
yeah.
but everything else is sort of 30 plus. So, he just loves the format. Um,
Hmm.
a book that I've been enjoying quite a bit. I don't think you really jumped on this one, but it's a book called High Strangeness.
Hmm.
So it's been 5 issues so far. It basically deals with sort of different conspiracy theories throughout history. I think I remember talking about the first one on here, which was written by Chris Condon. It was to
Hmm.
do with like the Men in Black and UFO abductions. There was an issue on the Abominable Snowman, which was really, really good. This one goes for something a little bit different. It goes for the whole idea of um, when you die, you just basically come back, but in another body. It's subtitled Infinity.
Hmm.
It's written by Daniel Noah and Christian Ward, and actually drawn by Christian Ward.
Mm.
And it's all about how, like, when you die, when you come back, you're in another body, but certain memories, seem to stay
Yeah,
there,
like
and
a
certain
reincarnation
people
sort
are,
of a dealio.
yeah, and certain people are destined to sort of meet and, come together again and stuff like that. But the main draw for it for me was the art. The art in it was
Mm.
absolutely spectacular, just really, really cool to look at. Really, really awesome to sort of delve into and check all the little details. I mean, Christian Morty has a very defined sort of
Yeah,
style
big
of art,
style, big
and
style.
that's what it is, and a very defined style of coloring. But it was nice to read something like this, and it was sort of a positive way to look at death, I suppose, which is quite a
Mm.
macabre thought, I understand, but it was kind of nice to look at it in a optimistic and hopeful way, and
Yeah,
there is
yeah,
something more, and
yeah,
this
yeah.
isn't the end, and that kind of thing. And what's cool about this one as well is, and again, they do it in every book, there'll always be like an essay at the back, sort of written by whoever the writer is, and they'll go into like influences and different
Mm-hmm.
things. It's these kind of things that give the comics a little bit more value, which I really like, instead of just being a quick read, set it down. Okay, there's £5 and that's
Yeah,
gone.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I like those sort of things. That was from Oni Press, and it was 5 issues until that was the last one. So be hitting trade relatively soon. So certainly
Nice.
recommend dumping into that.
I'll be moving off the TV licenses shortly. I know I started with G.I. Joe and I'm moving straight on to He-Man and the Masters of the Universe number
Showing your
four.
age here, Keith. Showing your
I
age.
know, but I read this last night and talking about. I should say I'm not completely through. I've still got 3 issues left on last week's pull list, which are Absolute Batman, Blood and Thunder, and Ordained. to read, plus that comic magazine that you were
Yeah.
talking about last week. But this is the arc finale of the Sword of Flaws, but this series has been picked up as an ongoing. And you know, $4.99. You don't want a quick read. Tim Seeley's dialogue and Tim Seeley is plotting, I think is quite there's a lot to it. Do you know what I mean? So this
Yeah.
felt like it was I spent a fair bit of time on it. It was quite deep. So this was the series finale. Orko and the Sorceress are discovering the truth behind the Violet Blade, which Skeletor now possesses. Battle Cat badly injured, and you're like, oh no, Battle Cat, and his power has been taken by
The whole
Skeletor.
animal theory once again.
Yeah, absolutely. And they face off against Skeletor and his henchmen. Per Triclops gets a real grubbing. And battle between good and evil, magic, technology. It was just a real and a lot of the backstory of He-Man. So they're really setting up all of this, the origin of Grayskull and the power there, and Skeletor walking away a bigger threat than he was, and being every bit as ruthless as he should be. So it ends with the Masters of the Universe sort of licking their wounds, and we're looking to see what's going to happen after this. So it's kind of exciting. Yeah, the art also is phenomenal. Which that's Freddie Williams second. So very very good stuff. Really
Yeah, he
enjoyed
loves
that.
his nostalgia stuff as well. He's been like a
So
Turtles artist and a Batman TMNT artist,
yeah,
and
well, it really
you know,
it really works, really works. So yeah, looking forward to this going forward. Connected enough to the old stuff, but also doing really well with the new stuff. So yeah.
nice. I mean, you may as well stay out in the realms of space after talking about He-Man and
Well,
tell
yeah,
us
yeah.
about your new favorite character, Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Not quite, but close enough. So yeah, this is a sad one actually. Imperial Guardians #1 from Marvel
Bittersweet,
Comics.
bittersweet.
Bittersweet indeed. Obviously we have Dan Abnett and Marcelo Ferreira on this. Great art, great writer for this sort of space type stuff. But we know that this has already been pre-cancelled, which is very, very sad. But yeah, Gamora, Captain Marvel, Amadeus Cho, the Brawn, the other Hulk. Darkhawk and Cosmic Ghost Rider. They've been brought together by Maximus of the Inhumans, Maximus the Mad, as secret, black ops for the new Universal or Galactic Council, to protect that delicate balance of the Galactic Union by any means necessary. They're expendable, they're deniable, but there's some cool stuff going on. Gamora has insisted on being in charge, despite the fact Captain Marvel's there. Cosmic Ghost Rider is sort of more of Maximus's lapdog, and Amadeus Cho and Captain Marvel have come from Earth to represent Darkhawk. He's going through a lot of stuff. That's the original Chris Pyle Darkhawk. He's never quite been the hero that he needed to be, but since since Imperial, he's been sensing. He's having future premonitions that are always really, really dark, and that's really telling on him. So there's a within the group, there's a lot of different machinations going on and a lot of different agendas, and you can see that with their personal logs that are put in throughout. It's nicely enough wordy. The art was really, really good, so I really enjoyed it. As I've also been really enjoying Nova Centurion and Planet She-Hulk, the latter of which comes to an end this week. But we know all of these books are kind of done now for the most part. So this is sad to see because this is a good one. This is a good one.
Yeah, it's like when you recommend a TV show to people and you know it ends after one season, but you're sort of like, it's worth it because it's really good, but it's canceled before its time.
I mean, that's an interesting segue there, Alan, given what the news we've heard about Firefly this week coming back
Well,
in
I thought you might
animation.
want to share your excitement
So
quickly, so
that's been very exciting. Nathan Fillion's Instagram over the past number of weeks, and then the announcement this week that he's pitching it as an animated series to Disney. So
yeah, with
very cool.
all the original actors happy to provide voices
Yeah,
just to
buddy.
for that full air of authenticity. Yeah, just a couple more for me just over the last sort of week. Got my copies of DC AW #2 again. I'm overloading Keith with the second wrestling book this week.
What?
This of course is in the wake of AEW Revolution, which was 3 nights ago, Sunday and the Monday. That was a very late night for Alan, so he really appreciated the early delivery the next day. But as if it's not bad enough, this is a wrestling book. It's also written by Steve Orlando, so your interest levels are just waning by the second.
Yep.
But it was just really good fun. It's just it's loads of it's a story that's as deep as a puddle, but it's loads of fun team ups. Will Ospreay with Nightwing and John Moxley with Green Lantern and Orange Cassidy with Harley Quinn, and it's kind of thing. If you're a fan, you're going to enjoy it. It's bright, it's colorful, and to be honest, it ends up as one big plug for AEW at the end, where it's like, we're not turning our backs on the Justice League. Cosmic Crisis are one thing, but if you need us, you know where to look in the ring every night on Wednesday evenings on TBS. We're the best wrestle. So
Wow.
it's
Okay.
it's a little bit of an
The
advert
plug.
for
Yeah.
AEW as well. But again,
Cool.
it was good fun. It's sometimes there's a kind of comics you need in between reading, your serial killer books with, narcoleptic
Yeah, I
protagonists.
get you. I get you.
A little bit of lightness.
Another image pick for me, and this is the second last issue of Undiscovered Country by Scott Snyder, Charles Soule, and Giuseppe Camuncoli. We've been on this for a number of years now. It's 4 or 5 years, and we're getting so close to the finish. All the cards are laid on the table. We have the guys have made it all to the center of the spiral. We understand what is ruling this new version of America. We have an idea of where all these concepts have come from. Outside, the world is at war, and neither side, I think, will be satisfied with anything less than the total eradication of their enemies. So what comes next at the behest of our main characters? It's the last issue was issue 34 was issue 35 was just brilliant. Really enjoyed it. And it's really ramping up to the series finale. More and more, this series has always been like an analogy, has always been a metaphor, I think, for what we're seeing in America at the minute. And, the fact that I almost think that while we're looking at the external enemies, I almost feel that those external enemies in America are reminiscent of what's going on in America at the minute, where no side will seem to be we're satisfied with anything less than total eradication. So it's good
Well,
stuff.
I
You
like
still on
it.
this? So yeah.
Well, I like eating with the too many spoilers. I stopped reading on Discover Country around issue 15 or 16 because I could see the release schedule was all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
I've continued collecting it, so I have the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing. So I've been waiting for 36 to come out, and then I'm going to basically reread it from the start because
Mm-hmm.
I remember my excitement when this book launched, how crazy it was. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
America reinvented as like this Mad Max wasteland type thing, and
Yeah, yeah,
so I'm really looking forward to a good read of it when I have the whole thing. So yeah,
yeah,
seeing that it's almost at the end is really good timing for
yeah.
me.
Absolutely. I think next month that's it. It's finished. I think
That
with.
yeah, that'll be at 36 is the end of it. So, I mean, the last one for me, and of course I have to talk about it because I talk about it every time it pops up. But Absolute Batman 18 was last week. It was the culmination of the two-issue arc with Poison Ivy. But this more than any other issue of Absolute Batman up until now, I think this was a tremendous setup issue because it was setting up at least three different things going through the book. You were getting this version of the Court of Owls. You were getting secrets about Bruce's mum.
Mm-hmm.
You were getting, all the stuff with Ivy as well. And it's all, of course, leading to Scarecrow that you were getting little hints of what the Joker's up to as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really, really good, I mean, it was a good story in its own right, but as a setup issue, I thought it was more successful. Really enjoyed the art as well. Eric Kanate was the two-issue fill-in artist for this one. And then Nick Dragotta's back with issue 19, which sets up the Scarecrow stuff going forward. So, yeah, just a book that goes from strength to strength. It's I saw Snyder talk the other day about how orders for 18 and 19 were bigger than orders
Mm.
for issue one. So,
And
again, it
issue
just
20, we're looking forward to the introduction of the Robins.
yeah. See, I have a
Um,
theory about that, and I know we both have to go very quickly, but I'm going to tell you this theory quickly. I think Dick Grayson in this universe is going to be against Batman, and I think he's going to be recruited by the Joker. That's my theory.
Interesting. Okay.
Because we've seen Dick Grayson a couple of times so far, and he's always like he's basically stopped short of saying like, "Oh, this damn back character, he's making things worse."
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
that's the implication, and because
Interesting.
of the public face Joker is able to give in this universe, I think that will attract Dick Grayson, and he will end up on his side at the start
Interesting.
anyway. So,
Yeah. And my understanding is that we don't have a Damien in this universe because obviously
well, we've only got a
Talia
early
al
20
Ghul's.
something
Yeah.
Bruce, so.
Yeah. And Talia and Ra's al Ghul are very busy in the Superman book.
And as
So
part of that subversion as well, with Dick Grayson going with Joker, Harley Quinn is going to end up being Batman's Robin.
interesting. I
In the
like it.
40th anniversary of Dark Knight Returns, Carrie Kelly was Robin, female Robin, Harley Quinn. Anyway,
See what happens.
we'll
Cool.
see. We'll see.
Um, all right. Well, sticking with the DC universe for my last pick of what I enjoyed last week, and that was Emperor Aquaman. And as you mentioned, on that blue banner at the top, it says the Empire starts here. So this was definitely a jumping on issue from our creative team of Jeremy Adams and John Timms. Great looking book, a book that reads very, very well, coming out the back of DCKO. We have Arthur, who was trapped by Mira's mother, and he is reuniting, three different parts of his psyche: the young boy who can't swim, the young Arthur who can't swim, the middle-aged Arthur who, is happy to stay in the lighthouse, and you know, and then the older, more wise Aquaman who is in charge of Crore Blue. So he gets them together. They're in different parts of the blue, and make their grand re-entrance to the world. The battle between Mira and her mother was slightly confusing because they look so similar. So I had to take careful time over that. But yeah, it was really, really cool. I'm really enjoying the new Aquaman. The fact that he now has the powers over the blue. He's almost like the sea version of Swamp Thing in a way, and he has this understanding, and it's all about, going forward. It's this team, this, Justice League Blue nearly, who are traveling alongside Arthur, including Captain Nemo, and he's realized that it's not just about the Atlantis or the civilizations below the sea, or in fact, the percentage of the Earth that's covered by water, but it's about all the oceans across the universe. Now, such is his power, so very, very cool stuff. So nice one.
Nice. Yeah, I only got to get my copy this week. I was a little short last week, but that's on my reading pile for this week because, again, just been
Mhm.
really enjoying Aquaman in general. Just before we finish up, just want to throw a quick shout out to Mark who comes into the store. I've talked a few times about how we've had trouble of getting Mad Cave titles, and obviously I was enjoying Dick Tracy so much. This one feels quite, timely. He gave me a copy this week of the Dick Tracy St. Patrick's Day special.
Oh, lovely. Very
So he
cool.
dropped that in for me. So I just wanted to say a quick thanks because I know he tends to watch this every week as well.
Is
So
that a recent issue, or is that a
yeah, St. Patrick's Day special. So I think it came out 2 weeks ago. I know you were reading it in
cool?
trades and stuff, so I'm sure it'll be collected in there. We are in a position now to start getting the trades in again, which is good. Single issues are still a little up in the air. So, but who knows? We'll maybe get back to single issues at some point. We can hope. But yeah, that's going to do it for us this week. Recording Thursday, 19th of March. So that's all the stuff that has come out this week we're looking forward to. The new comic book day of 18th of March. Pop into the store, of course. We're well stocked with all the titles there. Feel free to jump in the comments or, drop any messages to us if there's anything you'd like us to cover or titles you're enjoying, or if we've got brain dead takes and, X-Men United is actually the second coming. You can mention it in the comics and take that up with Keith. But we're going to leave it there for this week, and we will be back with another show next week. And that's good timing because Keith is gone.